it really created just a paradigm shift, an upheaval, a metamorphosis of where I was before, which was, a very streamlined way of living, a lot of productivity tools without being like toxic hustle culture kind of stuff. Coming out of everything that I learned from sort of those creative entrepreneurs that were talk on social media about design your life and set goals and all that kind of stuff. And then finding certain areas where there wasn't as much fulfillment with what I was doing or making. I'm now going on the complete opposite side of the spectrum.
Then you took mushrooms.
Took mushrooms. Throwing out a lot of that productivity stuff because I spend too much time in software and staring at to-do lists that end up being, a mile long with a bunch of cold tasks on them, feeling down about myself because I'm not, like having these big wins that like get me a big chunk of what my goal was taken care of. Feeling a little like I'm spending way too much time inside and not outdoors enough, understanding some of the other stuff we've looked at from the Century of the Self, and it's just all this stuff just creating so much upheaval in a good way. And now it's like, you've got all this stuff that's, the room's destroyed. There's stuff strewn about everywhere, and you got to kind of.
You've been excavating for a year.
Yeah, you got to kind of go through and go, well, what am I going to keep? What am I going to take with me? And what am I going to keep from sort of the old ways I was doing things? What am I going to bring in from what's new? And how am I going to streamline this a little bit, make it all a little bit more efficient, so I have some more concentration. And I felt that a lot coming back from.
I like the metaphor too here. You're everything's messed up.
I'm enjoying that.
You pulled all the stuff out of all the closets.
Yeah, everything's out there. Bought crap at the stores, picked stuff up, experimented with this. Do I like this? Tried this on. I kind of like that. It didn't work. This isn't the thing. Watching videos. There's this one channel, and I'll link it in the show notes, but there's this channel where this guy photographs artists in their studios, and most of them are in New York, and a lot of them are older artists. One was like 90 something years old, the other one's 70. Like these people that had like, a warehouse or a loft in Brooklyn before it was cool to live there. And just these beautiful studio spaces that, for some people might look like a mess, but I'm like, you're surrounded by all the stuff that not only sets the foundation for the energy and the vibe that you need to do your work, but then the actual practical tools that you need to make your work. So like a lot of that is very affirming in going to I call it the back studio, where I used to store a lot of equipment and film do my live streams. But all that stuff is just completely tore apart. I've got metal drawer chests that I'm going to set up for organizing tools and stuff that I'm selling on eBay. That's a whole thing in itself, possibly, scaling that back. And now that I kind of know the direction of my work a little bit more clearly, pulling back from using that as a tool to earn some extra money and get back to focusing on, making work both with my YouTube channel and hopefully continuing with photography and my photography channel. So when we talk about this stuff, I think it can sometimes feel like it's a bit of a therapy session for Matt, and I really want to try to find the connections that this might have to people who are listening, who might be, I don't know, afraid to kind of nuke the fridge a little bit and pull everything out of the closets and grab stuff on impulse from, a thrift store, an estate sale, or...
Well, you started to go there, but I was almost going to be like, what prompted this? Like, what behaviors prompted this shift in... I don't want to oversimplify it and just say mindset, but this shift in behavior, this shift in worldview. this shift in so many things. What behaviors prompted that? Like, how could somebody else, would you do it again if you could?
Yeah.
I think the answer is usually yes on things like that, but maybe not. I'm curious as to what your thoughts are there. And
yeah, I'd absolutely, do all this again. Because I do think, when we're making our work, we're going to have these seasons or these shifts and our approach. And I think you watch a lot of, I've watched a lot of documentary or a biopic or something that just kind of tells the story of an artist's life and the work that they had. And maybe they created work that there was a certain look to it or a style to it that sort of they became known for, they became famous for. And then it was expected that they would just keep cranking out pieces that were related to that. I hear this a lot listening to music podcasts and bands that are playing songs they wrote 30, 40 years ago. And they're like, we're not those people anymore, but we have to play this music because this audience paid to listen to our hits.
right.
Where they might be like, we would love to play, 30 new songs for you that are more connected to who we are now as artists and all that. And I feel like the music industry really suffers because whatever they are famous for, there's this just, especially if they have a prolific catalog, not that the Beatles are touring, but the Beatles, the Beach Boys, Pearl Jam, these big iconic bands that have all these songs that audiences come and they're like, okay, like my
Play
life, my life will have meaning when I hear that song from high school, that, made me feel all my feelings. So, when I started my YouTube channel, Final Cut Pro Tutorials, as much as I enjoy doing them and still want to do them, I'm obviously interested in exploring other things. I want to experiment and try other stuff. I started the photography channel because that really, caught fire with me, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And then, of course, making work that I don't share on that photography YouTube channel with the hopes of making a zine or a book or, putting a showing together or something. I don't know. So I just really like embracing that evolution versus what got you sort of known and then doubling down on that repeatedly, niching down, doing what all the entrepreneurs say you should do for more sustained growth. And, like be one of the Final Cut guys. And the more you make those videos, the greater your subscriber base will grow, the greater your revenue will grow, all of that kind of stuff. And that's just not really the thing that is the most interesting to me.
It had been a golden afternoon, and I remember having the familiar conviction that life was beginning over again with the summer.